Time for our picks for the Rose Bowl. Doug Lesmerises, Nathan Baird, and Stephen Means. Nathan Baird in Pasadena for this one. We'll have full coverage at cleveland.com/OSU leading up to and after the game on Saturday. Post-game podcast on Buckeye Talk after the game. Probably it's going to be until Sunday morning. It's going to be pretty late for everybody. The line has kept moving with the Ohio State opt-outs. It is now down to 4. Ohio State favored by 4. The over-under is 64 points. Nathan Baird, we'll start with you. What are you picking for the Rose Bowl?
I am taking Ohio State to cover, and I'm taking an over. I still think it's going to be a very competitive game. I'm taking Ohio State 37, Utah 31. So that equates to probably 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals, something like that for Ohio State's offense, which I think with the opt-outs is probably a realistic level of production. I'm curious how Ohio State does as far as establishing a run game, which I think correlates potentially to whether or not they're going to have success in the red zone. I think Utah is, though, going to be able to move the ball against Ohio State. That also makes each possession a little bit more valuable for the Buckeyes. But I also think on the offensive side of the ball, you're talking about guys who are not just fill-ins. These are guys who, by every estimation, should be among the best at their position in the Big Ten, if not the country, and it's even taking Jackson Smith and Jigba out of it. But the other guys we're talking about should be pretty relevant players starting from day one next year, and I don't have reason to believe that they're necessarily that far off. It won't be as consistent as with Olave and Wilson in there, but I think that guys like Fleming, like Marvin Harrison Jr., like Emeka Egbuka could make big plays in this game, and I think the offense will still be able to produce enough to put this away at the end.
All right, so Nathan's getting the over on the total with 68. He's given the 4 points with the 6-point Ohio State win. Stephen, what you got?
I'm also giving it. I got to push 37-27. Ohio State wins, but that score won't be anywhere close to indicative of what the actual game would be like. I think for most of the afternoon, it's going to be a pretty close game, and basically a field goal game. But I do think Ohio State kind of backdoors it late there, maybe 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. CJ Stroud finds one of these young receivers for a touchdown that gives Ohio State a comfortable lead and a 10-point win in this game. But I agree with Nathan. Utah can do it to play keep away, which makes Ohio State every possession more valuable. But I also do think when you've got some younger guys playing, even if they are talented, they might have some mental mistakes. They might have a drop here. They might get caught, when they should have scored a touchdown here or there as well. And so it allows Utah to stick around a little bit longer than maybe anybody would have expected them to, had we been talking about these two teams at the beginning of the year, even if you had Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson opted out. So yeah, it's going to be competitive throughout the game, but I do think Ohio State pulls away late 37-27.
So you're right at the number. You'll take an under, though, if you had to go. You have to pick one.
Yeah. If I had to I'd take it under, just because Ohio State's missing its best 2 weapons, and this defense has given up some points to teams all season.
All right. So Steven's given the points and taken the under. I've gone back and forth on my pick all week. I actually changed my mind Friday morning of what I thought I was going to do. I will pick Ohio State to win. I really thought I was going to pick Utah. I arrived at 33 as my Ohio State point total. I really like that. 4 field goals, 3 touchdowns. CJ Stroud doing his thing, maybe a little less explosiveness, but some red zone struggles. Noah Ruggles. Going to come in handy that Ohio State has a kicker that it really, really trusts. A guy that we haven't talked a ton about Noah Ruggles this year, but he's as good as any kicker in the country. And I think he's going to matter in this game. So I'm going to go 33-31, which means I'll take Utah +4. I'm also right on the number, but I'll take the over. And I just think it's a game. And I think it would have been a game either way. I think it's a bad matchup for Ohio State in a lot of ways, but deciding to pick him is basically like CJ Stroud, some Travion Henderson explosiveness. I think the screen game is kind of always there, often there for them when some other stuff isn't working. I think that'll be true. I think Devin Lloyd's going to be a problem for Ohio State. And I think it's a 60-minute game. So I don't feel real strongly about this. I'm about 50-50 on who I think is going to win the game. But in the end, Ohio State just has a few more good players. And I'll give them the edge, 33-31. So I'll take that over, even though my number is right on it. And I'll take Utah +4. Bigger breakdown on our Buckeye Talk podcast, post-game Buckeye Talk podcast coming after the game on Saturday. Read all of Nathan's coverage from Southern California at cleveland.com/OSU. For Nathan and Stephen, I'm Doug. Thanks for watching.